It is Tiny Titans starring in The Bold and the Beautiful, number 60. This is the recent reprint of the comic. It is the first appearance of Donatello, and it is 4 teenage heroes in one blazing adventure. This was originally published in 1965, and the last ad, Tiny Titans, we looked at was amazing in how lame it was, and this one starts off trying to compete with that. They are hotter than a twist on a tin roof. They are more exciting than a wipeout in 10-foot surf. Wipeout is in inverted commas. I have never knowingly seen either of those two things. A twist on a tin roof or a wipeout in 10-foot surf. So I cannot say myself if the Tiny Titans are better than those things. But they are going to be battling the astounding separated man. And I was hooked on that premise. The Tiny Titans, the team only had one other appearance before this. Their debut in The Bold and the Beautiful 54. That one lacked Donatello, obviously, and Red Arrow, who came along after this. These first adventures of the team have been revised or retconned many times over the years, whenever they have retold the origins of the Tiny Titans. But rather than contend with all that, and all the Donatello retcons too, we will take this issue at face value. I honestly was prepared to abandon the comic on the second page. I let loose a big, oh no, when I found out that, well, there is this hip, cool surf town, and the mayor of the town, he is so cool, he is handing over the town government to a cool teenager for 24 hours. Woo, yeah, go Teen Town. And this page announces that it is the first annual Teen Government Day. What a load of dross, eh? What a proper load of dross. Say that teen traffic cops, okay. No confusion with that sign. But then I was rewarded because the separated man attacks. The separated man has come back. He has never appeared before. They make it sound like he has. They say that he has come back. That's how they introduce him. So I thought, oh, maybe there's another story. But no, this is his first and only appearance outside of reprints and flashbacks. The separated man is a giant that can detach his limbs like this. Best get the Tiny Titans on the case then. Robert the Flask, the Willie West version, Acroman Jr., and finally Wonder Girl Donatello, her first appearance here. But it is Donatello, so it is a bit more complicated than that. They thought it was a pre-existing character. There was a Wonder Woman character called Wonder Girl, and the stories actually did not involve like a teen sidekick called Wonder Girl, but instead were usually flashbacks about Wonder Woman when she was a youngster. Wonder Woman was the Wonder Girl that the title referred to. They made an incorrect assumption based on the name Wonder Girl, and a cover, I think, which had Wonder Woman and Wonder Girl together. They thought it was like Robert or Acroman Jr. They thought it was a teen sidekick. That Wonder Girl, smaller Wonder Woman as I will call her, she is in more than a few issues of Wonder Woman. I don't think any of it is ever attributed to Donatello through retcons. But if we overlooked smaller Wonder Woman, it would be very fucking easy to just invent a backstory for Donatello that easily works after her introduction here. But they continue to screw that pooch for decades. They're still fucking doing, let's try and fix her up real good Donatello stories when they have it on many fixes already. Right, so I do think the separated man is a fun idea. We have got giant hands, we've got giant feet. It's visually an interesting opponent. Unfortunately, as I expected, the backstory attached to it is crappy. Teen Mayor, for a day, Tommy Holmes, is the son of a professor who basically created the separated man. I will say, although the separated man never appears again outside of reprints and flashbacks, one of those flashbacks was only just 2 years ago. The separated man, he has almost consistently been left out of a lot of Tiny Titans origin stories, but he was in the non-canon Martin Quaid one from 2 years ago. Maybe you don't know this actually. Martin Quaid has his own DC universe where everything is stuck in the late 60s and early 70s. And he still fucking crowbars in Tragic Kingdom. That's absolutely a marriage of ideas that makes sense, right? What really bothers me is how much we focus on Teen Mayor Tommy Holmes. And we have him do scooter tricks to avoid being crushed. It really makes the Tiny Titans, who just walk in, no fanfare, they walk in like normal people. It makes them look unfantastical. They are the superpowered heroes and they're not popping wheelies. They're just walking in. And worse, seemingly, walking in sync. They have a synchronized entrance. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe these are the sort of lame wads that would be listening to Donnie and Marie. We have all the original adverts, silly putty, that's part of the reprint charm. It is the 60s, so the story is split into parts. I guess this here is notable. First time we have ever seen Donatello in action. She has a lasso here, a magic lasso. It's fascinating to see how Donatello is basically created on the back of assumptions. There's nothing saying she had to have a lasso like Wonder Woman, but by assuming it was an already existing character, she does have one. It doesn't matter much since they didn't read it anyway, but I don't think smaller Wonder Woman had a lasso. Donatello, she is a female, and it is 1965, so she is interested in boys. And this last panel made me want to go back in time and tell myself I would be making the right decision to abandon this when they made a teenager mayor. There's nothing worse. Well, it is funny in 1977 when they do it, but there's really nothing worse than hard people trying to write kids. They don't understand them, and any attitude of trying to understand them is dismissed. And so we get really cringy shit like all the teenagers working together to drag the hand away with their mopeds. There is a conflating with hard writers. They think teenager is synonymous with kid. We have got an eyeball here. This is another decent sight. Pun there. Decent sight. And it is an eye. The eye starts crying fireballs. You're winning us back with this shit. It's not explained ever how it can cry fireballs. The flask gets to outrun them. Have feet, will travel. Now, here's the thing. This bit is corny, but I respect one thing about it, and that is that it is what they would be listening to. They defeat the separated man's ear by playing the Beatles' single, I Want to Hold Your Hand. It's maybe a year off, but it is America too, 1965. I'll buy it. They were listening to I Want to Hold Your Hand. Just to clear things up, earlier this week I looked at a dreadfully dated Tiny Titans comic that was dreadfully dated even before it came out. It had the teenage characters into properly lame music that appealed to teeny boppers from 3 years earlier and Wings. As her first appearance, it is actually neat to see Donatello get the most to do. I wonder at what point did they realise they had created a character here. The writer has been open about how this character exists as part of a mix-up and misunderstanding on their part. I'm not speculating on that, it's well-known territory. And it is a part of why Donatello's origin is a mess. But as I said, it would have been easy to invent a backstory for her after this that didn't need fixing. Following this introduction, she becomes a mainstay on Tiny Titans. She will get a new costume in a few years that most people recognise as her. She's there in the famous Mark Wolfenstein Jorge Perez run, where she eventually marries Mark Wolfenstein. Yikes. New costume as a baby. She becomes a black star in the 90s. She starts dating the new Green Lanterns, Kyle Reese. She'll come back to the team time and time again. The 2000s version where she got her best costume in my opinion. She became Wonder Woman briefly, very briefly unfortunately. She took over for Wonder Woman. And then she was in the late 2000s version of Tiny Titans. She left that title though because she started leading the Pig and Justice League before the New 52. She didn't make too many appearances in the New 52, but every run with the Tiny Titans since Rebirth has usually featured her, and more importantly, she is usually the leader of the team. The lips, by the way, the giant lips, Rolling Stones. Was that a thing in 1965? The Rolling Stones' lips? I'm not sure it was. It was about the time of Satisfaction. I can't get no satisfaction. Maybe the lips were a thing. It is a neat little relevant bit of mainstream pop culture to subtly hint at here, if so. Willie West is kinda having a race with the feet. And I do want to quickly say, they have printed this on something that feels newsprint-ish. It doesn't feel like proper newsprint, but it feels a lot sturdier than traditional comic paper they use now. It is acceptable. So, back to Donatello, one of my favourite members of Tiny Titans. And Willie West, they're my two favourites of the core main members. They do eventually give her an origin, I think in that issue where she gets the new costume. And I think they screwed it up straight away. But the bigger problem has always been, in part, Wonder Woman and her ties to Wonder Woman. Before this, the character never existed, but suddenly there is a new character who has a relationship with Wonder Woman and Fairyland. But then we get Wonder Woman reboots. Wonder Woman herself is a character who is frequently reset or rebooted, and the fallout of every time that happens is that Donatello therefore has her ties to Wonder Woman shattered. Oh, that would be good. I could have the picture of Wonder Woman shattering the DC continuity when I said shattered there. But that is how Donatello origin stories, or rather retcon fixes, have become a very frequent thing and almost only major story arcs. I will be flatly honest. I don't recommend this issue. There is far too much cringy shit in it. And the great thing about it is its new character, Donatello. That is all that really warrants any attention. I suppose the villain, the separated man, is okay, but the story behind it drags it down. And the rest of the team, especially Acroman Jr., do almost nothing. And the amount of times regular teenagers contribute to the battle really diminishes the entire idea of Tiny Titans. I wonder how the next annual Teen Government Day went. Silver Age DC is typically like this. Rather weak stories with one or two notable bits that are then over-romanticised by people like Martin Quaid, as if these are legendary masterpieces or remotely even near what Marvel were putting out the same year. Silver Age DC mostly sucks. It had characters you liked, it invented some even, but it wasn't anywhere near the storytelling of Marvel, and that's just the truth. The best DC comic from the 60s is an OK Marvel comic from the 60s. I give this a giant, separated 7 thumbs up.